All right, so we start with Paint 3D. We're gonna open up the app and we should get a page that looks something like this. If you don't like the way the page looks, go up here to the top right and then you go to canvas options and then you can adjust your canvas to make it look uh, a little bit more square. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is draw our horizon line. So click on 2D shapes, click on the line, and then I'm going to draw a line straight across the page. All right. Now that I have my horizon line drawn, I'm just going to go to the brushes and I'm going to select the color and then I'm going to draw my vanishing point. So the vanishing point is probably going to be somewhere around the middle. All right. So there's my vanishing point. The next thing I'm going to do is go back to 2D shapes. I'll select the square. And then I'm going to draw a square underneath the first or underneath the horizon line. All right, so this square or this cube is going to be underneath the horizon line, which means we're going to be able to see the top of the cube. All right. So now that I have the square drawn, I'm going to go back to brushes. I'm sorry, not brushes. I'll go to 2D shapes, and then I'll start drawing my lines to the vanishing point. All right. So I'll start with this outside line. I'm going to draw this to the vanishing point. And I'm going to make this line a little bit thinner. I'm going to take this down to 4 pixels. All right, so that makes it a little bit thinner and it'll be easier for me to erase later. All right, so now I have that line drawn and I'm going to draw a line from this corner as well to the vanishing point. And then I'll draw a line from the last corner to the vanishing point. So from here to there. All right, so after we've done this, we're gonna draw our parallel lines so that we can finish the rest of this cube. So I'll go back to 2D shapes, select my line, and then I'll draw a line across the parallel line that I'm trying to match. So I'll change the color of this line so that you can see it. And then all I do is slide this parallel line. I have to make sure it's parallel to this square. And then I'll slide it down to where I want to stop it. I make sure it's touching both sides of the vanishing point or the converging lines, and then I'll let go. All right, and then I'll do the same thing on this edge because this is the other side of the wall of the cube. So I'll draw this line to make sure it's perpendicular, or I'm sorry, parallel to the line that I want to copy. I'll change the color and I slide it down to where it meets the line that I made previously. It should look something like that. All right, so let me explain why we don't draw this back line. So we don't draw this line back here because that line is being blocked off, all right? So if we were to draw this, it would make sense because this wall and this wall over here block that line and there's no reason for us to draw it, all right? So I'll click undo. And now the last step for this cube is to erase all the lines. So I'll go back to brushes, and then I'll click on the eraser, and then I'll erase all of the lines that I don't need. So I don't need that one. I'll clean this up with right here, and then I'll erase the lines that I don't need. And you should have a cube when we get done. All right, so that is the first of the 3 cubes. Now, the second one, we're gonna go back to our square. Now this square is gonna be above the horizon line, so we should see the bottom of the cube if we do this correctly. So I'm gonna draw my cube. Make sure it's not too big so that you can see the converging lines. And then you draw your converging lines down to your vanishing point here. You'll draw another one from this point. And then you draw your last one from this corner that we can see. All right. And again, the reason why we don't draw a line back here is because the walls are blocking the view of this conversion line. All right, so to make the parallel lines, we draw this line here to make sure it's parallel to the line that we're trying to replicate. We change the color, and then we'll slide it down to where it meets wherever we want to meet the end of that box. All right. Then we'll do it again for the bottom one. We'll draw a parallel line to the bottom, and then slide that one down to where it meets the other one, and then we'll have our second cube. Once we finish all that, we can start erasing. And then I'll start on our last cube. So the last one is going to be on the horizon line. So these lines are going to be a little simpler. So the first thing I'm going to do is erase everything on the inside because we don't need it. So let me go back to brushes. And then I'll start drawing my converging lines down to my vanishing point. So I've drawn my 2 conversion lines, and the reason why I don't draw this conversion line back here is because it's being blocked by the wall that I had just created over here on the left side. All right. And the same thing with this line. I don't draw a conversion line from this point because this wall is blocking that converging line. So I won't be able to see it. And the last thing we do is draw a parallel line. So I draw a line to make sure it is parallel with the edge. I'm going to change its color so you guys can see. And then That is it for our 3 cubes. I'm going to erase all the lines that we don't need. And we are done with the exercise. I'm sorry, we don't erase that part of the horizon line. We erase this portion of the converging lines. All right, and that's it. Once you're done with that, you go to menu, save as, go to image. I would title it today's date, 10/20 practice. Save it. And then in Schoology, go to your course, and then you will have a submission for today. And you can submit it if you want me to see what you've done, and we can talk about any corrections. So this is not a grade, this is practice. And if you want to submit it so that I can see it, you can do so.